Some fighters will do whatever it takes to win. Adultery, wickedness, mockery. In this video, we're going to show what happened to these rats and the merciless punishments they received for trying to surpass fairness. Subscribe. Let's go. Ricardo Mayorga versus Shane Mosley. We'll kick things off with a rematch between Ricardo Mayorga and Shane Mosley, a clash fueled by Mayorga's loud mouth and disrespectful antics. Mayorga kicked things off when he trash-talked Mosley's son, claiming he'd wreck his dad.
Papa, finito ya. No más, papa. I'm not gonna have a dad anymore.
If that wasn't enough, he slapped Mosley's girlfriend on the butt cheeks. Yikes.
Whoa. Gonna do, and you're gonna kill his ass, beat his ass.
Mosley had no choice but to turn the ring into a classroom and teach Mayorga a painful lesson. The fight was a wild mix of Mayorga's over-the-top antics and Mosley's heat-seeking right hands.
Another big right hand by Mosley. Another right hand.
But as the rounds ticked by, it became painfully clear that Mayorga was a 41-year-old relic, dragging himself through the ropes just to collect a paycheck. By round 6, Mosley put an end to the farce, sending Mayorga down and out for good.
40-somethings in here will both appear weary and maybe... And down goes Mayorga!
Usman Uzi Ahmed versus Ashley Sexton. Boxing has seen its share of flamboyant characters, and the wish version of Prince Nassim, Usman Uzi Ahmed, was one of those. In his 2010 showdown with Ashley Sexton, Uzi strutted into the ring like he was auditioning for Dance Moms or something. Uzi's theatrics didn't end there. The moment Sexton entered the ring, Uzi charged toward him for a heated face-off, looking more ready for a WWE promotion than a boxing match. Unfortunately for Uzi, the show didn't last long, as mere seconds into the fight, Sexton wiped the swagger off Uzi's face with a thunderous punch, sending him on a one-way trip to the netherworld. But before we move on, make sure you like and subscribe, please. Thanks. Andre Mikhailovich versus Alex Hannon. Alex Hannon is very much like Uzi, and he too effed around and found out against Andre Mikhailovich. Right from the start, Hannon played dirty, making gun signs during their final face-off, and then punching Andre's before the fight. But the humble yet fiery fighter launched an early attack that gave the cocky idiot some well-deserved humility. Or wait, did it? Hannon didn't learn, however. In round 2, his rat tactics continued.
Hanging on to end it is Hannon.
Not long after, Hannon's bravado hit a brick wall with a clean left hook, sending him crashing to the canvas. Moments later, Mikhailovich would have Hannon spinning like a top with another left hook. Before hammering the final nail into the coffin.
He takes another shot and more, and here they come, and there's the stoppage, and it's a victory.
Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis. Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis was a collision of titans unlike any in boxing, even though Tyson was now past his prime. But that didn't stop him from painting himself as the predator, and Lewis his prey.
I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lennox is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is...
The tension between the two hit a fever pitch at the press conference, where Tyson lunged at Lewis and kick-started a vicious brawl. And when the bell finally rang, Tyson came out like a wrecking ball, landing some of his signature bombs in the opening round. For a moment, it felt like the baddest man on the planet was back and ready to tear through the heavyweight throne. But Hurricane Mike quickly died down. By round 2, Lewis had tamed the beast, jabbing Tyson into a corner where all he could do was cling to hopes of a miraculous Hail Mary. That miracle never came. Instead, Lewis delivered a finishing blow with a sledgehammer of a right hand that sent Tyson crumbling to the canvas.
Lennox Lewis cements his legacy as one of the best heavyweight champions of
Mike Tyson versus Mitch Green. The Tyson you just saw wasn't the invincible prime Tyson. Back in his heyday, he was the ultimate hammer, and his foes were just nails waiting to be driven into the canvas. When 19-year-old Mike Tyson faced ex-criminal turned boxer Mitch Green, he was already a rising star, having bulldozed through 20 opponents in less than a year. Green, however, was confident he'd dim Tyson's shine.
Me and Tyson fight, he gonna let him in a car wreck. I'm gonna give him a whiplash and put a cast on that big old ugly neck. Ow!
Unlike his pre-fight shenanigans, Green's bravado wasn't enough to withstand Tyson's relentless fury when the bell rang. The teenage phenom unleashed a storm of punches, leaving Green stumbling like a man caught in a hurricane. Round after round, Tyson turned Green into a human punching bag, hammering away with the precision of a sniper. After 10 grueling rounds of one-sided punishment, Green survived but lost by decision, leaving the ring battered and humbled.
To end things.
Now, if sucker punches make your blood boil, Anatoly Nagovski versus Sadygov. As if the headbutt wasn't enough, the Siberian McGregor, oh God help us all, swaggered into the cage dancing like he wasn't about to get turned into a highlight reel. Nagovski started strong with the takedown, but his own illegal headbutts brought the fight back to standing. On his second takedown attempt, Sadygov proved tougher, holding the line against the fence with a fire in his eyes. Spotting the tiniest chink in the cocky scoundrel's armor, Sadygov threw the kitchen sink at him, raining down elbows that sliced through Nagovski's defenses like a hot knife through butter until his foe couldn't take it no more. Vakhaev versus Tony Johnson. The ACA heavyweight title fight between Russian Vakhaev and American veteran Tony Johnson was another roller coaster ride, which started off with smiles and handshakes, but it didn't take long for the tension to explode into a fist-flinging storm when Vakhaev took offense to something Tony said. Vakhaev continued to land first, and with a decent amount of accuracy inside the cage as well. However, karma didn't take long to even the score, with a poetic masterpiece of vengeance that left Vakhaev tasting cold and brutal justice. Joe Harding versus Johan Seges. Next up is another satisfying moment in MMA history when the cocky showman Joe Harding got a reality check from the humble warrior Johan Seges during their amateur bout in 2017. Before we show the dumb rat, make sure you like and subscribe if you didn't already for some reason. Anyway, Harding turned the fight into his personal audition for Dancing with the Stars, strutting and shimmying with reckless abandon. For 2 rounds, Harding mocked Seges by prancing around and landing big shots.
He's hard to hit. He's hard to get a hold of.
Counted there. Oh!
But just 20 seconds into the 3rd round, Seges delivered a perfectly timed head kick that wiped the smirk and his consciousness clean off. Bahadi versus Dricus Du Plessis. UFC middleweight champion Dricus Du Plessis has been serving up humble pies to the middleweight elite ever since he entered the world's top MMA promotion. But his taste for silencing doubters isn't new. Back in 2017, when DDP crossed paths with brash British loudmouth Bahadi, he gave him a bitter dose of reality. The tension boiled over during the pre-fight face-off when Bahadi went so far as to slap Du Plessis. But when the time came to back up his antics, Bahadi crumbled under the bright lights as Du Plessis wrapped him up in a vicious guillotine choke, tightening the noose until the Brit plunged into oblivion.
Bahadi is trying to hold on. Du Plessis is squeezing for all his worth. And he gets it! Dricus did it! Oh my goodness!
Lorenzo Hunt versus Hector Lombard. Now, slaps are fun and all, but sucker punches are a whole different flavor of chaos, especially when they're served bare-knuckled. In 2021, Hector Lombard decided to hand Lorenzo Hunt a knuckle sandwich when the latter crashed his moment in the spotlight.
Lorenzo Hunt in the ring. Oh, Jesus!
Hunt wasn't about to let that slide. When it was just he and Lombard with no security and handshakes to save the day, he stuffed Hector's face with his own bare-knuckled fists. Hunt even taunted his foe, all while setting up traps for the dirty rat. As the rounds wore on, Hector kept charging forward, swinging wildly like he was trying to hit a ghost. But Lorenzo stayed cool and slowly hunted Lombard down. After 5 rounds of war, Hunt was declared the winner by decision. Charlie Zelenoff versus Deontay Wilder. Self-proclaimed boxing phenom Charlie Zelenoff is nothing more than a master of deception, a top-tier rat who has built his house of cards by preying on random civilians. But when this self-styled lion dared to step into the ring with Deontay Wilder, his pride had a great fall. The so-called phenom was torn apart, his grand illusions disintegrating with each thunderous blow. Ironically, Zelenoff's mouth only found its volume once Wilder's team swooped in to stop the onslaught. Suddenly, the coward had all the words in the world to say. The fact that Wilder was just playing with him, if he'd actually gone full throttle, Zelenoff would be 6 feet under. Let's be real. Just like you, if you don't subscribe. Ryan Jett versus Cub Hawkins. While Zelenoff paid the ultimate price for tormenting innocent civilians, Ryan Jett's comeuppance came in the form of a humble pie served piping hot for interrupting Cub Hawkins while he was enjoying a banana. Hawkins wasn't about to let that blatant banana disrespect slide, and he was more than ready to squash the nonsense as he cornered Jett and turned his face into a canvas of punishment with brutal punches in every round. The revenge peaked when Hawkins let loose a violent barrage of over 24 punches, leaving Jett battered, bloody, and with no hope of a comeback.
Tough Ryan Jett. Jett being smart with the head movement.
By the time it was over, Jett sat in his corner as a bloodied mess, left to reflect on his self-inflicted demise and the decision loss that followed. If you see a guy eating a banana, let him be. Julian Wallace versus Ben Nguyen. Now, Julian Wallace, aka Jules the Jackal, might look intimidating with his tattoos and tough guy demeanor or whatnot, but he's not a dog that bites. At least, that's what Ben Nguyen proved. At the weigh-ins for his title defense against Ben Nguyen at Nitro MMA in 2013, Wallace tried to bully his opponent during their face-off, puffing out his chest like a rooster in a henhouse.
Good work, guys, all of it, tomorrow night.
But Nguyen wasn't buying it for a second. He brushed off Wallace's antics with a laugh, fully aware that he was the superior fighter, and he made Wallace pay for it dearly, delivering a knockout so swift and brutal, it was like the universe itself was delivering a message. Jason Solomon versus Amatesh Chaubey. Like Wallace, Jason Solomon is a bit of a character who strutted into his fight against Amatesh Chaubey like a peacock, taunting and trying to intimidate his opponent, thinking he was that guy, but lo and behold, he wasn't him. His cameo came to a screeching halt when Chaubey sent him to the land of ghosts in just 9 seconds.
He's hurt! He's hurt! He's hurt! He's hurt! He's out!
So what do we learn here? It's that we should never let overconfidence steer our ship, or we might hit an iceberg and sink without a trace. Derek Chisora versus Dillian Whyte. Speaking of icebergs, Derek Chisora with his hulking frame is one himself, but the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Heading into his first showdown against Whyte in 2016, Chisora got so upset at his foe that he smashed the table with the kind of force that could have cracked the mountain.
You think I'm a pussy, I'm a punk, you tell me right now. Because listen, I am the baddest man fucking me.
However, when the bell rang, Chisora's roaring bravado fell flat as he lost by split decision.
But what I was saying is, this is a risky fight for Whyte because he is in that position. And it's a risky fight for both. And I take my hat off to both.
No, it's not a risky fight for me.
No?
What are you talking about? I didn't have anywhere to go, did I? No, it's not.
Physically.
Chisora came back cockier the second time around.
Physically what? It don't matter. I'm going to come out there nice. Do you understand? We're going to go and take what's his and make it mine.
Inside the cage, the big man once again faltered. The fight was a back-and-forth war, both men throwing bombs that could have shaken Earth.
Surprised the bookies.
But it was Whyte who landed the final strike. A punch so devastating it slammed the door on Chisora's arrogance and wrote the last painful sentence of their story with a brutal knockout. Derek Chisora versus Vladimir Klitschko. This wasn't the first time Chisora was battered for his rat axe. Heading into a super heavyweight title fight with Vitaly Klitschko in 2012, Chisora pulled a disgusting move on the gentle Ukrainian when he slapped him. Klitschko kept his composure and did his talking inside the cage, charging in round after round to dismantle the cocky challenger. Round after round, Chisora got his butt whooped as the champion controlled the fight, teaching the dirty rodent a lesson in humility. By the end, Klitschko defended his belt with authority, clinching a unanimous decision victory, while Chisora was left nursing the sting of his own disrespect. You simply don't mess with the Ukrainians, do you? Marco Huck versus Alexander Usyk. German cruiserweight Marco Huck still did for some odd reason in the 2017 World Boxing Super Series quarterfinals when Alexander Usyk handpicked him for destruction.
What's the name of your opponent?
It's Marco Huck.
Marco Huck it is? So why Marco Huck?
Because my fans.
Okay.
The cocky dude didn't like it as he issued a bold warning to Usyk, claiming he'd make the Ukrainian regret his pick.
This is my wish opponent.
The worst opponent?
The wish.
The wish opponent. Well, then this is a match made in heaven.
I know, but too much people tell this Olympic game medalist is very good, and I will do it.
The trash talk wasn't enough for Huck as he added a shove during the face-offs, poking the bear one time too many. Once the bell rang, however, it was all Usyk. The Ukrainian tactician dismantled Huck with surgical precision, exposing his lack of answers round after round. Huck's only contribution was offering his chin on a platter, which Usyk cracked repeatedly like a piñata. By the 10th round, Usyk had seen enough and delivered the finishing blows, putting Huck out of his misery in a brutal fashion. Cedric Doumbé versus Alim Nambayev. French kickboxer Cedric Doumbé is a bona fide badass who has sent a number of cocky individuals to the shadows, with Alim Nambayev being his top scalp. From the get-go, Doumbé owned the ring with his low kicks, jabs, and scorching overhand rights that tore through Nambayev's defenses like a hot knife through butter. Struggling to keep up with his superior foe, Nambayev decided to take the low road, throwing punches to the back of Doumbé's head in a desperate bid to slow him down.
Time.
Not only that, Nambayev threw in a dose of swagger, showboating like he wasn't getting his butt handed to him on a silver platter. But all that arrogance only stoked the fire in Dupree, and the Frenchman unleashed a hellish overhand right that sent Nguyen crashing to the canvas.
6, 7.
Nguyen staggered to his feet, barely holding on to the consciousness that he had left, only to eat a nuclear right hand that sent him straight into dreamland. Before we move on, have you subscribed yet? At this point, you might as well. Come on, since you love the video so much, you might like others too. Bahadi versus Peter Graham. Like Nguyen, Bahadi learned the hard way that cocky and unsportsmanlike behaviors doesn't come without consequences. Hear me out. The first lesson came in 2006 after a reckless backstage brawl with Peter Graham before their highly anticipated clash. The brawl was just the prelude to the storm that was about to hit the ring, where both fighters charged at each other like two bulls locking horns in a deadly dance. In round 2, the venomous strikes of Bad Boy Hari began to take their toll on Graham, but the Aussie refused to be intimidated. Hari was slowly towering over Graham, landing brutal blows that seemed destined to flatten the Aussie. But just when it appeared the smaller guy was on the verge of collapse, he unleashed a thunderous response that shook the ground beneath Bader. By the third round, Graham's lightning had struck again, turning Hari's cocky swagger to dust with a roller thunder knockout.
Попадает Питер Грэм. Невероятно, невероятно.
Bahadi versus Arkadiusz Wroszek. Bahadi's second reality check came at the hands of Arkadiusz Wroszek, against whom his cocky tricks were about as effective as a paper umbrella in a storm. For the millionth time in his career, Bahadi completely lost his cool, shoving Wroszek during their face-offs with the kind of force that could knock the wind out of a lesser guy. But he wasn't a lesser guy. Even in the ring, Bahadi was in full bad boy mood, dominating the fight and dropping Wroszek multiple times. But then, like a magician pulling a rabbit out of a hat or something, Wroszek landed a kick so brutal it probably knocked some bad karma out of Bahadi's system. Murtel Grunhard versus Harut Grigorian. The kickboxing clash between Murtel Grunhard and Harut Grigorian in 2017 had a lot of spice. From the opening bell, Grunhard unleashed a barrage of knee strikes so vicious they had Grigorian's ears ringing like Big Ben on overtime. But when Grigorian mistakenly thought the round was done and turned his back, Grunhard landed a sucker punch that sent him spiraling into a void darker than midnight. The cheap shot resulted in an all-out brawl as both camps exploded in chaos. A few months later, fate brought them together again, but this time Grigorian had a bone to pick and fists to throw. So naturally, he stormed Grunhard with relentless firepower, battering him into the ropes like a man possessed.
It's down here in round 1. That's the power we all knew Harut had in his hands. He just needs to land it.
Soon, Grigorian would follow up with a blow so cold that it tasted like karma served on a silver platter. So these were the times cocky fighters were knocked out after pulling off rat acts. Let us know in the comments about what was the funniest moment. Make sure you subscribe if you somehow didn't after we asked all those times. Like, come on, really guys, we love ya. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, take care.